Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, which means in the name, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Alright, that's his true name, Yahweh Shai, which means he is a savior. You know, he is to save. And double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and to our teachers that rule well. Shalom. All right, this is 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 4. This is going to be a quick hit. It says, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which minister questions, rather than godly edifying, which is in faith, so do. All right, so you have a lot of people that, you know, have questions of how do you prove you're an Israelite? All right, how do you prove that you are an Israelite? All right, when the apostles have said it over and over. If you confess this truth, if you confess the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, all right, and you confess that that is the truth, then that's an indicator, man. You know, it's not all about, you know, well, look here, my ancestors had Hebrew last names and, you know, this and that and so on and so forth. You know, we don't have to present little pieces of paper anymore, you know, which that's what I'm going to get into in this lesson. So in 1 Timothy chapter 1 and 4, it says, neither give heed to fables. All right, don't give heed to fables. And what are fables? Old wives' tales, you know, fables, falsehood, you know, like a fable would be, you know, who built the pyramids, the saying that the what is it called, the fallen angels built the pyramids. That's a fable, you know. Saying that, you know, 36-meter giants built the pyramids. That's a fable. You see? Saying that aliens came down, you know, from another world and, you know, built, you know, ancient civilization. That's a fable. You know? Things that are not true. So let's go into that word fable. Fables, which is mythos, which is also known as myth. All right, the word myth goes back to mythos, which is a fable, you know. And then they disguise it with different words like theory. All right, now they come up with the word theory, which is still a myth, you know. But it says mythos. It says a speech, word, saying, a narrative, a story. All right, the mythos, you know, it could be a true narrative, a fiction, or a fable. You see? So paying attention to fables, paying attention to myths is not godly edifying. You know, if you're not using it for edification and just using it for, you know, entertainment, those are fables. You know, some things, you know, you can go into that are fables. All right, but they actually bring out edification. You know, so it says a story, typically with animals as characters, conveying a moral. It says moral taste, a myth. All right. So paying attention to those fables, man, that, you know, that ain't gonna do. Just a lock it, give me 1 second. So going back, it says neither give heed to fables. All right, because what should our concern be? Our concern should be this truth, you know. That should be our concern, not these fables. It says, and endless genealogies. Now, why did it mention endless genealogies? All right. Endless genealogies and those fables, all right, are going to tie in nowadays because that's what people see it like. You know, they see this truth as fable, as a fable. All right. And they see it as an endless genealogy when we go out there, you know, with the board. And what brought this this lesson was me getting ready for work this morning. All right, I had to grab my 12 tribe board, my board, and I put it in my back seat, and I started thinking about it. Because people think that that's a endless genealogy, but they don't understand where Timothy or Paul is really getting this from. The book of Timothy. What is he going back at? Because you have to remember that the apostles, they knew the scriptures, man. They knew the scriptures. So where is Apostle Paul getting it from? Because the majority of the so-called New Testament, all right, goes back to the Old Testament, man. They get their information from the Old Testament. See? So let me get it. This is Ezra. Chapter 2, Salakia, and verse 62. And it says, let me start off at 61 because it says the same thing in Nehemiah. Well, actually, I'll go to Nehemiah after this. It says, verse 62, these sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood. All right. So if you were mixed, all right, what they would call mixed, having an Israelite father and a heathen mother, you were considered polluted. That's why in the book of First Ezra, you have Ezra the scribe, all right, that rent his clothes because you had the nation of Israel, all right, that polluted themselves with the other nations, and it's not just, you can't marry somebody of another nation, but it's you following Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. That was the main reason. So if you were, following these other women from these other nations, what Israelites would tend to do is start following their gods too. They wouldn't pay attention to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Look what happened to King Solomon. King Solomon started, marrying different kinds of women, and to keep them happy, he started, worshiping what they worship. You see? So Ezra, all right, was whenever they were trying to go back to the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, all right, you had Israelites that couldn't present themselves as Israelites because they didn't have the paperwork. It's like modern days, you have here in America, if you can't present your paperwork saying that you're a U.S. citizen, what happens? They kick you out. They send you to whatever you look like. If you look like an Asian, they'll probably send you to Asia. If you look like a Negro, they'll probably send you to Africa. If you look like a Latino, they'll probably send you to one of the countries over there, Latin America. That's just how this world is, man. So if you couldn't present your genealogy back then, your paperwork, all right, saying that you were an Israelite, then you weren't considered an Israelite. And that's why you had Israelites that went to different nations, man. And when they were over there, they lost their heritage, marrying into the women of those other nations. All right. So whenever it was time to present paperwork, they couldn't. They might have, danced like Jake, talked like Jake, sang like Jake, and praised like Jake. But at the end of the day, they couldn't present their paperwork So what happened? They got kicked out of the priesthood. You know? And we're a nation of priests, man. You see? So let me read that again. These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood. You see? So let me get Nehemiah chapter 7. And I believe it was also in the same verse. Just one verse up. 7 and 63. And of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Koz, the children of Barzillai, which they took one of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, to wife, and was called after their name. You see? And that happens nowadays too. You know? Say your last name is Ramirez or Thompson, all right? And, you know, say your father passes away or you know, your mother leaves your father, or whatever the case is, and you end up taking your mother's last name, all right? And her last name is not the same as your father's, all right? You're not going to be able to present your lineage because you didn't take your father's last name. You see? So it's the same thing that happened in this instance. It says the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, to wife, and was called after their name. You see? It says these sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but it was not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood. You see? It's the exact same thing, man. So we don't reckon with genealogies, man. You know, if a brother wants to come into this truth and he's humble, all right, and he's sincere, and he keeps working at this truth, we're not going to stop him in his tracks and say, yo, you got to present your genealogy, man. All right, that's what 1 Timothy chapter 1, all right, and verse 4 is really talking about. You see, the same thing in the book of Ezra, chapter 5 and 36. It says, these came up from Thermalay and Thelersas, Harathalar leading them, and Aelar. Neither could they show their families nor their stock, how they were of Israel. All right, so they were of Israel, you know, but they couldn't show it. It said the sons of Laden, the son of Ban, the son of Nekoden, 652, and of the priests, and they usurped the office of the priesthood, and were not found, the sons of Obadiah, the sons of Akoz, the sons of Aduz, who married Agiah, one of the daughters of Berzellus, and was named after his name. And when the description of the kindreds of these men was sought in the register and was not found, they were removed from executing the office of the priesthood. All right, so why did Yahushua come in the scene? Why did he come here to save us? Verse 40. For unto them said Nehemiah and Athaliah that they should not be partakers of the holy things till there arose up an high priest clothed with doctrine and truth. All right, and that's why we praise Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because that is the high priest, clothed with doctrine and truth. All right, and that doctrine, all right, the 12th tribe chart is part of that doctrine, man. So if you don't believe in the 12th tribe chart, you have no reason to be believing in any of this truth, because it's the whole roll, man. It's not just little pieces that you like, you know. And the high priest, Yahushai, he brought us back unto the Father. All right, that's why we bring out the 12th tribe chart. You see, because it's not reckoning with endless genealogies, man. It's just reckoning with genealogy, and that's what the scriptures is about, genealogy, you know. So I hope that was edifying, and with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and Shalom to the brothers out there. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom.